Hey guys, uh, good morning. I did a little video yesterday and then um, I just found this morning. The video I did yesterday was so short I didn't even put it up. It's just about, the ownership of chattel in America and how they're doing it is through DHS, Department of Homeland Security. I found this right here. It talks about the final rule, right? And you can read it, but the final rule really is what it's saying is it includes certain definitions of certain terms critical to the public charge determination, such as public charge and public benefit. So the aliens that come here, they're putting them in a status where they have no rights in America, and then they're told that this is for public benefit. So then people will target the person, stalk the person, because located within their body is a public benefit that is worth billions of dollars to the community. So what they're saying when you read this, you've got to read it pretty carefully, but DHS has statutory discretion to waive this ground of inadmissibility. So it says the rule does not apply to aliens whom Congress exempted from the public charge ground of inadmissibility, such as asylees, refugees, or other vulnerable populations. So Congress is the one determining who is in the program. But then they're saying that asylees, refugees, and other vulnerable populations listed as exempt in this final rule, but they're not doing that. Read the rest with me. It says, in addition, this includes special provisions for how DHS will consider the receipt of public benefits. I mean, it's too wide open. It's too broad. How they're going to receive it through bullying and torture to, as Karen Tucker says, coerce the fortune out of a person. This is a hate crime against women, and it's a hate crime against children, because the bullying starts a long time before the person ever gets to a plastic surgery clinic. It's not, they're taking out bankruptcies against the person's rights. Taking out bankruptcies. They're bankrupting the person, using the person's collateral, and then taking a loan of $500,000 or more over a lifetime, over your lifetime. And that's why Time's Up is such a very dangerous concept, because Time's Up means you are having to pay for a public benefit that you didn't know you owed because of this reciprocal prohibition, reciprocal list that goes on. I know I didn't explain that well, but certain international adoptees and receipt of Medicaid in certain contexts, especially by aliens under the age of 21, pregnant women, blah, blah, blah. And for certain services funded by Medicaid under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, or in a school setting. So, I mean, you can read this, but it's basically saying that they are doing something new here. This final rule clarifies that DHS will now only consider public benefits received directly by the alien for the alien's own benefit, because they're hurting children and women and taking out their organs for a public benefit. So the DHS is determining that people are kept as slaves here in America for the public benefit. And so they just changed this rule in 2019 so that you can't do it if the alien is not listed as a beneficiary of the public benefit, because people like me went around to the veterans and everyone and said, this is torture. Like, what you're doing to people is torture. And they don't care if we become homeless, but they use it for a public benefit to pay for, products and services for the homeless. You know what I'm saying? But we don't get any of the benefit because we're being used as slaves, literally. All right, I'm going to show you something else I saw. Something. Yeah, the public charge grounds 84. Look at this, right? But there's something else I want you to see where it's basically saying that they can change your age. And this is the one I think is really weird. I was just looking at this. Okay, there's one where it's talking about if you're 21, right? It's basically saying they can be loosey-goosey with your age until you're 21 under the rule. And then after that, they can still claim you're a child, but they can't also marry you. So if they marry you, it negates the whole legal fiction that they've created. So the fact that they married me on paper when I was 18 shows that they knowingly went through the process of using me for public benefit, if you understand what I mean. But I found something else about the 21 on this other site, but I can't find it right now. Hold on. So again, I have a social security card under one of my fake birth certificates, right? So before those birth certificates, there were other birth certificates that said they were not requesting a social security card because I'm an alien in some way. And so what they're doing is they give you the social so you think you actually have a normal status when you don't. You're not actually a citizen, but they let you travel as if you're a citizen, so you never find out you're actually owned under this law. And the final rule changes the definitions of public charge and public benefits and changes the standard that DHS uses when determining whether an alien is likely to become a public charge at any time in the future and is therefore inadmissible and ineligible for admission or adjustment of status. So before this rule that was just made, this is one of my birth dates, fake birth dates, but February 24th, right, of 2020, they're saying you're ineligible for admission into the United States under the law. And they changed the rules. So now if you are living here and you can't work, or you know anyone, I know there's a woman who watches who has a son. I don't know if it's a woman or a man. Sorry, you guys. Has a son that she feels has been targeted to the point of going insane. So if this exists somehow, they've done this on record. Now, it doesn't mean the person is actually an immigrant. It's like when you read all of this, it just changes how they're using the meaning of the terms and the words child and how they can change it. So Child Status Protection Act, it's 101, which is also means you're owned by a federal government, okay, of the Immigration and Nationality Act defines a child as a person who is unmarried and under 21 years of age. And the calculated age is the child's CSPA age. This allows some people to remain classified as children beyond their 21st birthday. However, they can't be classified as children if they're also married. So you guys have seen the marriage records that I have. I don't know if I showed you the one to Christopher Cartwright that says confidential on it. Please remind me if I've shown it to you or not, because I have a lot of records and I get confused as to which ones I've shown you. But the one to Christopher Cartwright is to an FBI agent. Christopher Cartwright works for the FBI. So the marriage record to me is a confidential record. Like, you're not supposed to be able to get access to the record. It's confidential because you're in a confidential marriage. So on a lot of these sites like Ancestry, you can search all of your marriages. You can search your birth records, death records. And you can also do it in the courthouse. Sometimes you guys ask me how to do it. They usually hide it in different courthouses. Like, you know, if they're using a child as a slave for public benefit, you know, they still shouldn't be forging your name. You know, they're not supposed, there's certain felonies that they're committing by hiring men to, you know, pose as your boyfriend. I mean, that's really not, I mean, that's like sexual coercion or sex trafficking, really. So it says that if you're a derivative refugee, your CSPA age is your age on the date your principal refugee parent or form petitioner filed his I-590, which is the date of his or her interview. If you were under the age of 21 at the time of your parent's interview, your age is frozen as of that date, and you will not age out. So, while you must be unmarried to qualify for admission into the U.S., as a derivative refugee, you do not need to remain unmarried in order to qualify for a green card. If you're a derivative asylee, your CSPA age is your age on the date your principal asylee parent or form I-730 petitioner filed his or her form I-589. If you were under the age of 21 at the time your parent filed the form, your age is frozen. That's why I said, like, when you watch Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, she doesn't want to talk about her son who's dead, right? And she keeps saying, don't mention his name, whatever. And she says something about him always being a child, right? So that child might not even be a male. You know what I mean? They change gender, they change age. I mean, the fact that I found anything at all where they married me and then had me with a different name as my own child, using the name Lance Douglas, right? So there's like a lot of ways they're doing this, but this is the main way. So if you're a refugee and asylee, that's why sometimes you'll look up background checks and you'll find a bunch of sexual abuse of underage children, because we're considered underage by law. So if they're abusing you, it gets sealed because it's child abuse. Do you understand? All of that gets sealed under children's services. So no one knows about it. But still, it doesn't give people, you know, state employees the right to beat you, or the LAPD not to look into things. But what they're doing is they know that these beatings and rapes and everything they won't look into are breaking you down to get the public benefit, which is worth billions of dollars. You understand? So if you know anyone in this status, they're marrying you under this too, but you can't, I mean, they're marrying you without your consent. and forging your name. So those are crime. Those are federal crimes. I don't know if it's a crime to marry you without your consent, but it's definitely fraud to marry you to an FBI agent named Christopher Cartwright is fraud. So you would have to, what I think they do is they make it like the people that are your captors are filing a form, or they're taking you from immigrants. Asylum. Hey guys, good morning. I'm still trying to figure out how to use Rumble. I guess you post a video and then you have to share the video, or it doesn't get into the Rumble feed. And I'm not totally sure how to do it yet, but I'm trying. I'm trying to post things through Twitter. But anyway, I wanted to show you this document. I looked up a man I had to live with earlier in life because I had no money, and something really bad happened to me when I was staying there, and I looked him up, and he has a different name, and or at least uses an AKA, and this is what I found. This filing right here. So UCC filing original. And then you got a number. And then down here, unknown equipment and proceeds, chattel paper and proceeds. So they are keeping people as slaves, basically. So under Deere and Company is a secured party, but then the debtor is this person that was going by a different name when I knew this person. So this is their AKA name, and this person knew this woman, Catherine Lincoln, AKA Catherine Wilshire, who worked for the FBI and was a friend of mine. I mean, these aren't real friends, obviously. So you can see the banks that are involved. More chattel paper and proceeds. So paper is considered, like the fibers of your muscles, and I looked at paper a lot because they hide a lot under paper. Chattel. So unknown chattel, I mean, obviously the chattel is known to all of the people because it's the way the FBI is keeping people as slaves. So there is a place in California called CAST, C-A-S-T, and it's supposed to offer assistance to trafficking victims. And they ask, were you trafficked or prevented from, paying rent, where you had to stay somewhere where they took advantage of you or sexually trafficked you, and then they're supposed to call you. But I think they also get paid to, help certain people and not help others. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this. So again, I was looking up that person's name, and it shows right here the name, and Kalamazoo, I think, is, they use the site as a holding area for pieces of plane and anything else. I mean, they're literally, this is Struthoff. I mean, there's so many different names, but the FBI is involved with this, with what they're doing. Strudolf Ranch breeds is for the complete package. The quality Strudolf Ranch breeds for is the complete package. Horns set in size, a large squared up frame, color conformation, gentle disposition. Chattel. All right. Does that mean they don't also own cows? No. They probably also own cows.